Good morning, guys. MWUSA Season 3, Episode 125. I am just leaving home, 6 a.m., 6-ish a.m., and today is going to be definitely a very hot one. It's already 75 degrees outside, hazy skies, and I'm not going to worry too much about that right now. It's going to come into play if I had to take a nap in the car and it's too hot. I may have to have the car running. I'm going to try to call the hotel again and see if I can get a spot. Still don't know yet. Probably not. So it'll be another one of those days. Our goal today is to play overnight into tomorrow, and then I'll have to be home by tomorrow afternoon, late afternoon, for a physical meeting, an in-person meeting. So I've got clothes to change, just need a place to change them, I guess. Otherwise I'll have to come home a little earlier, get a shower, get myself cleaned up. So we'll see how it goes. Got lots of chips to cash right now, so need to deal with that as well. I'm going to try to get about 14 sessions in today. So definitely we'll be busy all night. We'll see how things go. A little frustrated the last 3 days that I couldn't get out and make money, but today's our chance. I got a decent amount of sleep. Can't say I'm super fresh this morning, but I can say that I'm feeling okay. So we'll see how it goes throughout the day. That's really about all that's going on. You know, one thing that came to mind this morning as I was getting ready is how often I've been seeing dealer mistakes lately. And usually even on big money. I mean, $400, $500 hands. And I'm seeing dealer mistakes on my hand, other players' hands. So you definitely have to be vigilant. I'm not even talking about just hands where they overpay. I'm talking about hands where they take money away from you or don't pay you when they're supposed to pay you. So just got to be really careful of that, because one mistake like that is 5 or 6 hours EV potentially. So just have to keep watch and don't trust that the dealer knows how much those 6 cards add up to. Make sure that you verify. So anyway, getting ready right now to get on the main road, and I'll be back to update you. Alright guys, I am back. I was only in there for 30 minutes, but there was a lot of action packed into those 30 minutes. So I initially found a machine. It was like $2 a spin. Played that one through and ended ahead like $19 on that. I moved on to another machine. It was a low amount, like 50 cents or 60 cents or something like that a spin. Played that one through, and that brought me ahead like 40 something dollars for the session. And then I go to another whole different area of the casino, and I see a casino in position, but it's locked. And generally with a lot of these casinos, if you have a high level card, they will lock it for you for 2 hours, sometimes 4 hours. I haven't really seen much more than that. I've seen some locked for days, but I haven't complained about it because they weren't in position anyway. So why am I asking them to unlock it if it doesn't matter, you know? So this one though was in position, and it had been locked for almost 3 days, about 3 days. So I push the button, nobody comes. Walking around the immediate area waiting for someone, nobody comes. So I leave the button pushed, and I find another play. I'm like, okay, this play should take me about 5 minutes or so. Maybe they'll come over and see that the button is pushed and clear it up. So I sit down, I start playing that, and lady comes over almost immediately, and I said, you know, I'm the one who pushed it for that machine. And she's like, oh yeah, that machine's broken, we need a technician. Okay, this is one of your most played machines. You have technicians in the building. Get a technician on it. It's so ridiculous. How do you run your business? So I said, okay, that's fine. And you know, it was a good play, but not a huge play. It was like maybe $10 EV, so I left it alone. And as I was talking to her, I hit what I was going for on this machine, which this one was a lot more expensive. It was about $5 a spin, and I hit that, and it was just playing miserably until that point. And then I hit it while I was talking to her, like I said, and had a great hit on that one. And let me just bring it up on my phone here. It paid $1,457.65. So $1,457.65. Very happy about that one. And she came back over. It was like a minute. It took like, it does all the stuff on the screen before it pays you. She came back around and she paid me. And then I'm like, this is great. I've only been here less than 20 minutes. I'm doing so well. And then I go into the back area and I find a machine. And okay, so this machine, interestingly enough, has different play levels. And there was a play on at least 2 levels. And it was a mediocre play. I'm like, let me just see how these play out first before I go overboard with the third play that I found. So I played them, and both of them played really well. And normally this machine has been playing so badly. The specific machine at this location has played so badly. Things that were plus $500 or $600 EV end up being losers. That's how bad it was playing in recent times. But I got some positive variance on it. And after playing those first 2 levels, which were just 1 or 2 spin plays, I said, okay, I'm going to try the third level. Now, when I was in Vegas and I met this guy who was a fan of the show, he said, and that he's used some of the stuff that he's learned on the show to make money, and he showed me pictures on his phone, and he claimed that it was my, what did he say, my strategy that made it work, but actually someone else invented this stuff. You know, that I talk about. A lot of this stuff was done way, way, way before me, decades before me. But anyway, he had done some monitoring of this specific machine, and he had a lot of spins documented, and he came up with a very strange way of playing it. And I wasn't positive that it fit into it, but I was 95% sure, because I recently read his paper that he wrote on it, that it was going to fit into that. So I played it through, and on the 13th spin, it hit, and I made another $100 and something on that one. So I took a picture, a before picture. Unfortunately, I didn't take an after picture, but I took a before picture. It didn't change much, and I'm going to review it and compare it to the notes that he had given me and see if it fit into his criteria, but I'm pretty sure it did. I think normally it would have been a borderline play for me, but the fact that the other 2 went well, I said, okay, I'm going for it, but I think it definitely fits into his criteria. So anyway, with all that being said, how did you end up after all of that? So I was in there for 28 minutes. And I bought in for a total of $100, and I ended up ahead $1,641. So great start to the day, plus 1641. We're moving on. Temperature in the last 3 hours has shot up. When I woke up, it was under 70. By the time I left the house, it was 75. Now it's 88 degrees already, and I mean, it's only 9 o'clock in the morning, you know, so, I mean, almost 10, it's still early in the morning, so it's going to get to be probably close to 100 today. I haven't really checked the Weather Channel. Let me see. The Weather Channel says that today's high is going to only be 94 degrees, heat advisory, till Friday at 8 p.m., heat index values of 100 to 104 degrees expected at times this week. High temperatures, high humidity may cause heat illnesses. The prolonged nature of heat may increase heat stress with time. Drink plenty of fluids, blah, blah, blah. Big long thing from the Weather Channel, or whatever this is called. Yeah, the Weather Channel. So anyway, we're moving on to the next casino, and hopefully this is the start of a great day. All right, guys, I am walking back to my car from the second stop, and I walk in, I look around, look at some slots first, and did I find a play? I found one play. I can't even remember. Oh, okay, yeah. It was actually a must-hit-by jackpot, a $40 must-hit-by, and it was close. And played that through. I just needed like 72% return to player on that to be ahead on it, and actually did pretty well on it, and ended up leaving that machine ahead $33, so that was good. That's the only thing I found, though, in the whole casino. Let me see here. As I'm putting some chips away here. So then I go to the blackjack area. There's two blackjack areas. I go to the high limit blackjack area. There are two tables open. One has a deck that's got a shoe that's got about a deck dealt out of it already. The other one has a shoe that has about, it's almost time to shuffle basically. It probably has 3 or 4 hands left. And they're cutting off about 1 1/4. Now, that reminds me, actually, the last time I was in this area, normally they cut off about 1 1/4, 1 1/2. I was getting as low as half a deck. So I really believe that once people know you for a long time, they don't mind cutting it thinner because they know that you're not a card counter. So they feel like I'm not a card counter. So they give me a little bit more leeway. But anyway, so I look at that one that's almost ready to shuffle, and I see that there are 2 spots saved on the table. And I say, is somebody playing here? Are they coming back? Oh yeah, he went to the ATM. I said, okay. And I go to look at the ATM to see if he's still standing there, and he's like, no, he went to the main cage because I think he's trying to get a lot of money out. So I say, okay, I'll just wait till he gets back, because I don't want to get in on his shoe. See how considerate I am? I don't want to get in on his shoe, and I'll just start the new one with him. And the dealer says, okay. So I go take a walk. I come back, and I see the guy. He's at the cashier forever. He must have had a problem getting money out, but eventually got some money out. And then he goes back to the area where the blackjack is and sits down, and I take my time walking over there. And by the time I get there, he had asked for a new shoe. I said, okay, so I'm going to sit down. And he goes, I'm playing by myself. I said, okay. I said, maybe I should have sat down while you were gone and be an asshole like you. And I walked away. I walk around a little bit, come back. He's still there. I'm waiting for him to lose. Eventually, I end up sitting down at the other table. They had just shuffled. I sit down there. I start playing. And he ends up busting out. And before he busted out, another guy came to the table, and he's like, I'm playing alone. And then he busted out, and he goes, you can have it now. Now you can play alone. So I'm like, I'm glad you kind of glad you busted out, because you're such a jerk to people. We're not the ones making you lose here. So anyway, I started playing that table, and I had chips. I've got a lot of chips I haven't cashed in this area, so I bought in for $500 with a $500 chip. Lost that pretty quickly. I won one hand and then ended up losing the rest of the 500. I was spreading 1 to 5, and bought in for a second 500. Ended up having to buy in for a third 500 because of a double down, which I ended up finally winning. And then things started leveling off a little bit, and things started heading in the right direction. And because I bought in with chips, they didn't even put me in the computer. They had no idea how much I bought in for, because they switched people and all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I had some green, I had some black. I was in for 2,000. I was actually in for 1,500. And here's one thing that I used the other day, which you may want to think about. Something like, I forget the amount I was in. Let's say I was in for, I think I was in for 3,500, and I walked away with 4,200. And I said something like, well, I'm up 200. And the pit boss goes, that's not what I have. I said, what do I care what you have? I'm not playing rated. I'm not trying to get anything out of you. What's the difference what you have? See, think about that. So people, the pit is thinking, oh, you're making it out like you want a little when you want a lot. But I'm turning it around like a ploppy and saying, well, I don't care what you have on your computer, because I'm not trying to get anything out of you anyway. Why would I lie? See? So anyway, finally ended up catching up, getting ahead, finishing out that shoe, finishing out the next shoe, and finally ended up leaving ahead $525. So plus $525 there, plus $33 on the slots. I cashed out some chips, still have a large amount of chips. I'll be back at least once or twice more today, and I'll cash more chips out at that time. But still moving in the right direction. So we're up over $2,000 for the day already with the first 2 stops. You know, I don't want to get too excited yet. We just keep doing the right thing, keep our head down, and see what we can do. So that's what's going on right now. I'm waiting in traffic. It is 90 degrees outside, and I'll be back to update you after my next stop. All right, guys, I am back. Oh man, I'll tell you, people are rude here. Very rude. I mean, between the first guy at that one table, and then I had 3 different times when a car could let me walk in the parking garage. Not a big deal. And I'm standing there, the car is still pretty far away, including once that was a security car, and every time they cut you off. Whatever. It's all right. It's okay. All right. It's okay. Don't be mad. Anyway, so I went in this place, went to the blackjack area. The low limit was still opening. The high limit was full. I went back to the low limit. The table was finally open, but the low limit table was $100. Walked around a little bit, then finally sat down at a table, started playing. Did okay. Wasn't there very long. Made $500. I was pretty pleased with that, and I thought it was going to be a big day. When I sat down at first, it felt like it was going to be a big session, but it didn't work out that way. Ended up walking away, like I said, plus 500 on the blackjack, and then I went and played some slots. After the first machine, I was ahead like $20, and I looked around and found just a tiny play here and there, and finally ended up playing one that was a decent sized play, and ended up losing $162 with $161. But actually, it was a lot worse than that, because at one point I was down over 500 on it before it paid out. So I guess you know, I was down like I was down on my last $7 actually, and I was in for 600. So I was down 593 and ended up leaving minus 161. So right now we're going to move on to another casino, and we're going to be there for about 2 hours. Then we're going to come back to this casino. We're meeting a friend, and together we're going to another casino. So he also has a room at this casino, so I will be able to crash on the couch if I need to for an hour or two. He gets up real early in the morning too, so I might be able to do my morning meeting from there before leaving. And that's really everything that's going on right now. I'm trying to think. I'll probably grab something to eat at this next place, because they have a lot of restaurants that are like ready to eat stuff, whether it's a slice of pizza or cookies, muffins, sandwiches, things like that. So I'll probably get something to eat and then head back here, hopefully with a little bit of profit, and we'll go from there. So that's what's going on right now. Plus 500 blackjack, minus 161 slots, and moving on to the next casino. All right, guys, I am back. So interesting trend I'm seeing in every casino in the area here within an hour and a half or 2 hours is that they're blocking off portions of the parking garage that are not used very often. I don't know if that's to keep people from being, you know, in the far reaches by themselves, maybe doing something they're not supposed to be doing. I'm not sure, but I'm seeing that everywhere. I went in and looked around and found one playable blackjack table, sat down at it, and was never ahead until my last hand that I played. Just negative counts every shoe. In fact, when I got up because the count was so negative, I couldn't play it anymore. I had a running minus 18 with 3 decks to go, which is a true minus 6. And this guy came in, and I'm like, oh man, this could be the guy to help me out here. Let's get a new shoe and start together. I can't get a new shoe because I'm not playing rated. This guy, everybody knows him there. He plays rated. I said, you want to play? We can get a new shoe. And he said, no, I just want to watch you play. So I said, well, I'm getting up. I was gonna play if you wanted to, but otherwise I'm getting ready to leave. And I ended up getting up ahead $100. It was just way too far negative. It was the only blackjack table available, and so I let that go. So plus 100 there on the blackjack. I did a little bit of slot stuff, but although I ended up ahead, I'm not counting it because I shouldn't have played it. It was too borderline. I did make, what did I make? 428, I think, on it, but I'm not putting it on my chart. I'm going to put it separately on a different chart because I want to keep track of these plays that I shouldn't have made that were too borderline and see where they end up at the end of the year. Right now they're slightly positive, but I really need to make sure I tighten up and not play those. So plus 100 on the blackjack, no slots, and I am going back to meet with my friend. I'm gonna put some money in the safe, so I'm not carrying around too much money right now, and then we're gonna head off to another casino. So he should be at this place in about 25 minutes. Should be perfect timing for me. So letting you go right now, and I'll be back to update you shortly. Alright guys, I'm back. So I went back to the other casino, waited for my friend. I got there a little bit early, so I'm looking around. I see a blackjack table I want to play. I go to sit down. The guy has like one deck left to play before the end of the shoe. So I go to sit down. Actually, I don't sit down. And so I'm waiting for him to finish that up. He ends up rebuying for $4,900, and he thinks it's $5,000. So they end up counting the money twice. And you know how it works, right? So they count so many bills, and then they collect them off the table, put them under the little thing, and then they do the rest of the bills, and then put the money out, the chips out for him. And he said, no, I think it's $5,000, not $4,900. So they had to start over again. I'm waiting. Finally, they're done, and he's like, can I have a new shoe? They're like, yeah, go ahead. So I go to sit down, and he's like, do you mind? I want to play by myself. I'm like, fine. So I leave, and he has a no mid-shoe entry sign put up, so that's like, he really wants to play by himself. So I walk around, I take like 3 or 4 laps looking at slots and don't find much. I end up playing 2 machines, making like $38 on those, but that's it. And then I go back to a different blackjack table, actually in the lower limit area, play that, and I'm getting buried out there. It's the low limit section, but it's the higher limit table there. And next thing you know, I'm involved for $3,000. But the count kept going up and up and up. I kept betting, I kept losing, I kept raising, I kept losing, rebuy. And then all of a sudden, things started turning around, and I went from like $300 to $3,800 in the last deck or so of that shoe. There was one point where I had a $500 hand and had a double, so I had to rebuy for that. So she comes over and sees I'm betting 500, and I double it and I win. And then I had a $500 blackjack, and then a $700 blackjack, and it was like bam, 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 back to back. And by the time the shoe was over, I was ahead $800. So I ended up walking ahead $800. I went to 2 cashiers to cash out to keep the amounts low, and then that was it. And as soon as I finished that, I got a text from my friend, "Are you ready? I'm here, blah, blah, blah." I said, "Yes, let's go." And so that was it. Left ahead 800 on the blackjack plus 38 on the slots, and went back to his room and put some money in the safe, so I'm carrying less. And right now we are moving on to another casino. We're driving separately, so once we're done there, we're gonna come back and I'll probably grab my money again. So no big deal. Right now it's 91 degrees. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and yeah, like I said, we're moving on. Gonna try to make some money here. Excited and at the same time cautious, but we'll see. The day's been pretty good overall. I've made a couple mistakes that I kicked myself for, but overall pretty good, B+. So letting you go right now, and I'll be back to update you shortly. Alright guys, I am back. So man, that didn't go too well there. I didn't play any blackjack. I did play slots and played a lot of different things, and ended my session down 150 on slots. There was a play that we looked at together. We contemplated at $50 a spin, and just at $50 a spin, it just didn't make sense for what the upside would be, so we decided not to do it. But you know, I kind of wanted to do it, but then the more we looked at it, the more we realized the upside wasn't enough to make sense for us. So anyway, heading back to the other casino, get my money from the hotel, and go back to what we were working on, which is blackjack and slots, more of the same. So yeah, right now it's about 6 o'clock, so we'll see what happens here. I'll be back to update you after my next stop. Alright guys, I'm back. It's really weird how 3 hours wasted going to one place and you lose 100, and then I come back here and in just minutes you get it all back. It's just crazy. So I went back to the blackjack area again, sat down, started playing, had a nice run, turned negative. Another player came to the table. At the same time it turned negative. I said, "See you later," and I walked away, plus $600. So a quick trip, plus 600. And right now heading to the hotel, meet my friends, get the cash out, and then we're gonna get some dinner. So that's what we're doing right now. He should be right around here, and we're gonna grab some dinner, and then I'll be back to update you, plus 600. All right guys, I'm back. So I got to the elevator. I was leaving the casino, getting ready to get out of the elevator to go to my car, and my friend in the casino, who just got me this nice meal, very nice steak, salad, fruit, whatever you want, it's all there, asparagus, all that stuff. He calls me, I'm in the elevator, and he says, "If you're not gone yet, I got a play if you're interested in it." And he told me about the play, and I've been saying all day I'm looking for a big play, something that's going to make a lot of money, and this was it. It was $20 a spin. So I got back down the elevator, went over and found him. He showed it to me. We agreed to play it. It could go either way, and it played horribly. Trying to think, it probably paid less than 10 to 15% on the run up, and then just got killed with almost no return at all. And we ended up splitting the play, and at $20 a spin, within like 5 minutes, we both ended up losing $1,012 each on that play. So that was horrible, but what are you gonna do? Could have gone the other way. It was never pays that bad. I mean, I've had one experience where it was worse than that, but yeah, that one hurt. So plus $1,012 there. I think I mentioned in the last segment that I made 600 on blackjack. went up to the room, got the money, came downstairs, and had dinner, and then played that slot. And right now I'm heading off to another casino, and we're going to turn things around here. Shake it off, and we're going to turn it around and make some money. So I'm going to let you go right now, and I'll be back to update you soon. Alright guys, I am back. It's about 500 degrees inside and outside of that place. My God, 10 o'clock p.m., 93 degrees outside. Inside, so hot, sweating the whole time that I was in there. And just things went severely downhill on that stop. Severely downhill. And it's a real heartbreaker, really. Pretty much everything I tried failed. The worst variance you could imagine. When I walked in, I looked at slots first, like I usually do, just browsing through, and I found a good play, $3 a spin. Played that one through, actually did pretty well. I was ahead over $300 at that point. And okay, dude, you're going the wrong direction. What do you want me to do? Jeez, sitting in the middle of the drive and going the wrong direction, won't move. Anyway, I was at over 300 when I went to play blackjack. From the first hand of blackjack, it was bad. It was so bad, I would go 14 or 15 hands without winning a hand. Even counts, high counts, low counts. It really didn't get any, like, other than the first couple shoes. And after the first shoe, actually, I ended up switching to another table and didn't really have too many low counts for a while, and then finally switched to another table when I had a real bad low count. So there was opportunities to switch tables, and I used it, but still variance was just running against me very badly. So many 20s beaten, so many big double downs where I got the card I wanted and pushed or lost the hand. Big hands. I was spreading from 100 to 700. Trying to remember here how it went down. Buying for 500. I've got chips at this place, or I had chips. I don't anymore. I don't have to worry about cashing those chips anymore. Cashed in 500 with a chip. Lost that very quickly. Cashed in more chips. Ran out of chips, and then started using cash, and got in deep enough with cash that phone call had to be made to surveillance. Now I've got an eye being kept on me as well, so that's fun. And I kept my spread. I was when it was a positive count, I would still vary the bet slightly. So let's say the count called for a $300 bet, I'd bet $250, then $325, then $300, stuff like that. And when it asked for like $100 bet, I'd be like $100, $125, $150, in that range. So it looked like I'm changing the bet. And usually if you're counting cards, you got steps, right? True 1, true 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're going, let's say 0 and negatives, you're going $50, and then true 1, $100, then 2 by 200, or whatever, your spread is. It's pretty stable and it's pretty consistent. So what I did was I'm throwing it off by doing those little things, and I think I was okay. The guy came around every once in a while and was basically just shaking his head most of the time because it was just such a bad run. And I ended up losing $7,025 on that table, spreading from 100 to 500. The low on the table, of course, was minus 7,025, and the high was 0. Never got positive, and never got close to positive. I mean, after the first 5 minutes, I never got within 2,000. Man, maybe 1,000 of positive. So it was very bad. Then I finished the session up, and I went back to slots again. You know, I mean, the world has to go on. You know, we got to get that money back. So found some other plays, played those, made a little bit more money on the slots, and ended the session on the slots ahead $654. So lost $7,025 on the blackjack and made $654 on the slots. So pretty dismal. I mean, I thought I was ahead like 4,000 something before this. Let me see. 21, 23, 28, 27, 28, 36, 35, 41, 31. I was ahead 31 approximately because I had lost that 1,000. So now that makes me down 4,000 approximately. Down 3,400, I would say. So I'm probably down 3,400. So see what we can do about getting back to even here. And you know, I really wanted a big week before the cruise, but looks like it's not going to happen. So let's just chip away, see what we can do. I'm going to move on to another place and see if we can make a little bit of money. And then we'll figure out what to do from there. So can't cry about it. Nobody cares. So we're moving on. I'll be back. All right, guys. I just noticed the length of this episode, so I'm going to cut it short. I'm going to let you go, and we'll start a new episode. It'll be the second half of the overnight. If you have any questions or comments, the email is mwusa21@gmail.com, mwusa21@gmail.com. See you next time.